Hey guys, I'm true to my word and I am torching today. Actually, I've made about 30 beads. They are over here in my kiln right now. That's a lot for me in a day. So, obviously you see a lot of glass shatters, and that's just the nature of the game here. But I am going to try and make a vessel. Never made one before. A problem that I have is trying to get that lip right there. So, today has been a really good day for glass, so I thought, you know what, let's go for it. Let's see if we can make this. So I'm going to go ahead and start melting some glass. First I need to find, that looks like a good one. So you need to find obviously one that's going to fit in there. And boy, that's pushing it. So we might have to put some release on a new one and flame dry it, which sometimes is never good, but I don't have a choice. So I use something called Fusion. You can't see the tag because I've had to put this in water a few times. And what we're doing is we're coating the rod, because obviously if we don't, the glass will stick to it. So we're just going to do one. I have my kiln set for, oh, it's only got 52 minutes to go. So we're going to put this up a little bit. There we go. And I don't know how well we're going to be able to see, but we're going to do the best that we can. I had the radio on, I was blaring, I was just dancing and rocking out while I was torching. Unfortunately, that would be a copyright infringement, so I had to turn off that great music. I gotta figure out how to get around that, because you can't torch without music. Okay, so I'm a lefty, and I've got to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this, because I will put the glass on with my left hand, so it's going to be like this, but then I have to turn it around and put it in here. So I need the right side to be thinner than the other side. Actually, I think I'm going to go with the thin one, so it doesn't take so much glass. Okay, so we're going to try and make the vessel, and then we're going to try maybe and put a handle on it. That's another issue I have. And we're going to add some funky glass that detrifies very easy in the flame. And detrification, it's just, oh, I don't know how to explain it, but you know how your glass is nice and smooth and beautiful and shiny? Well, when it detrifies, it's like running it through baking soda. You get pits in it, and the color gets matte and just really weird. But that's actually the effect that I want on this particular thing. The other problem I have when I torch is when I make long beads like this, is you have to keep both sides in the flame. You can't do it obviously, but not with the torch that I'm on. So you just got to keep working your way back so that your glass does not crack on you. And this seems like it's just taking forever, so let's kind of add a little bit more heat in there. Okay, and obviously you want perfect ends, so I'm going to work on this end first, just so that I know this one's done. Okay. And you really have to have steady hands, which I don't have. So we just do the best that we can. And obviously you don't want to put too much pressure on the rod of glass, or you will crack that bead release, and then your bead will be shot. go here. I don't like how that end looks. Okay, I keep grabbing the wrong press here, so let me put that away. We're just going to leave that alone, and we're going to work up about another 3/4 of an inch. I like this one because it was thicker. And I'm sorry that my oxygen concentrator is loud, so unfortunately you'll hear that in the background and the clicking of the kiln maintaining the heat. A long way to go. I'm going to grab a big rod. So this might pop. I don't mean to scare anybody, but there's a good chance that this is going to pop. Every time I'm done with that side, I'll come back on that side. Just keep that warm. Okay, and I think that's the height we want. Might be wrong. Oh yeah, I got a long way to go still. Alright, so we basically got the height that we want. So now we're putting this glass on. That one, yeah. And this is where I get my burns from, because when they shatter, that glass just pops everywhere. So this is that beautiful glass I was telling you about that will detrify. If I have a way of showing you what it does, I will. Like how that vessel is moving on the bottom. Okay, now I'm not really liking this color. I made quite a few beads with them and just absolutely fell in love with it. Right now I'm not real happy color it's producing. I don't know if it's because it's over ivory when the other one was straight off the rod or not, but I guess we're gonna find out. So, I don't know if you can see it yet. It's kind of a mixture of all kinds of colors. There's some purples and some browns. I think a little bit of black in there. This is just from one rod. I love working with rods like this because you can get all kinds of different striations in it. Alright, so pretty much I just need a little bit more there and a little bit more up on top. So it's right here. Just a little more down there. Now I don't know if you see, but the bead release has broken, which means, oh son of a gun, which means this bead might not be any good. We're gonna baby it and pray that I can get it to work. Alright, let's melt this down. Darn it. If it dies, then I'll have to shut off the video and make a new one. I think it can be saved. So when I put it in there, and this right here is a little short, and then up here is a little short. Not to put pressure on it. Honestly, I think that's good enough. Now we're just going to worry about the neck over here. So far so good. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you what I mean, but I can't turn off the fire. So anyways, if I put this right here, okay, you'll see all the different colors in it. Okay, the only reason it's not going to focus is because of everything that's underneath it. I'm trying to find something white here, but I can't leave it out for very long. Let me just show you really quick. Maybe you'll see it. It won't be the greatest picture, but you'll see it when it comes out of the kiln. So if you can see, all this purple is now like pitted. Okay, there's got to be a way I can show you. Let me warm this up real quick. And unfortunately, when I warm it up, all that detrification is going to go away. Okay, so we're going to try this real quick. See if it wants to focus. Probably doesn't. Yeah, it don't want to. But anyways, it gets into like so like if you were to etch glass the regular way and you leave it in an etching solution a little too long, then sometimes it'll get really matte and it'll pit. So that's basically what this is doing. Which is what I want it to do. Okay, so I left a little bit of room in there to add a little more. So this is just some ivory, and I've kind of wrapped it in silver foil. Not the foil that you use with clay though. This is actual 99.9% pure. So you cannot put regular foil for clay into the glove. I'm going to let that spread just a little bit. I broke it, but I think with the bead cap on it, it should be okay. Not sure that I like this color. Sorry, yes, it does scare me every time it does that, because I'm waiting for it to hit me. Now we're going to do the lip, and with this lip we're just going to use, gosh darn it, regular ivory if it doesn't shatter on me. This is crazy. Oh yeah, now it's really detrifying. Going to hopefully give it that little rustic look that I'm looking for. Okay, and with the lip, you want to build it up, but you don't want to melt it in. Okay, so we're just going to heat all this up again. Sure that this doesn't crack on us. Now we're going to do the lip and pray that it actually sits in there. And it doesn't. So I don't know how you use this thing. This is the issue that I always have, and why I never make them. What happens if I do it now. Okay, so we got the neck now. I'm just going to heat that back up. I threw that away because something was stuck on it. This guy just needs a little more, so we're just building a little bit up on top. I don't think I'm going to put handles on this one because I leave it in the glass too much longer. I know that it's going to break on me. So let's do a little more of this. And you can see where it's breaking on top too, so always get out when you're ahead. Okay, that should do it. And that looks good. Okay, so now we're just going to warm it up. And we're going to try and get some of that detrification off. And the way you do that is leave it in the flame and get it red hot. I don't want to take all of it off, just a little bit. I'm just going to do one final roll. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like this color, but it is what it is. I'm going to make one more, but I'm going to do it in turquoise. So again, I can't really show you this until it comes out of the kiln. Alright, so we'll let you know. And you can see where it's all matte. It's all not shiny at all. That's the detrification. So we're going to put this in, and in about an hour we'll check it out. We have room in the kiln. Okay, so we're going to make one more. So I'm going to get started on that, and I might show you. Guys, we're back, and I don't know if I'm going to show the first video I made or not, So I'm just going to tell you that I'm starting a little vessel here. This is like really pushing it though. I need something that's really, really long and coated. And I don't have anything, so I'm going to use that. I'm just going to be extremely careful. Alright, so we're just going to play around. We're going to make a vessel. I need something called a lighter, which is always by my torch, and for some reason I don't have it. Okay, it's over here when I used it for resin, I guess. So I'll light the torch real quick. Okay, but the first thing we're going to try, and this is really thick glass, if you can see all these little chunks everywhere, this is what's just exploded just like that. And I've been blessed today. I have not gotten hit by any of it. Usually it gets my face, or it'll get my arm, or it'll land on my pants, and then trying to get it off with your bare hands is not easy. I once had glass that went through my pants, down my leg, and into my sock, and burnt the heck out of my ankle. That was probably the worst burn I've had. They don't come very often, but they do happen. So I'm gonna try, how do I tell you how I'm making this design? So there's an agate bead out there that is trending right now, and I can't pronounce it. I think it's a DZU, so I don't know if that's zoo agate, DZU, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's kind of got agate, and then they kind of add lines, you know, in like square checker box or whatever. They're really pretty, so I'm kind of going for that. So to make my lines, I'm using a dark ivory, and I'm making this a really thin stringer that's kind of be painted on. So we're just waiting for that to firm up just a little bit. I don't want them thick, but I want them thick enough to where I can hold them. And all you can do is as far as your arm will allow you to go. Okay, I'm going to do one more, just in case. Down. I think that might be a little too thick. So we're going to make this a little smaller, because again, you want to pull this thin. And it's a little too gooey. You need to stop for a minute and then pull. One more, a little thinner. I thought it was a really cool day, so a good chance to come in here and torch, but damn, it's hot in here. Looking at a couple thousand, maybe degrees in front of me, and then that kiln's at about 940 degrees. Get a little warm in here. Alright, I think this is the perfect one. Alright, so this is the one I want. So we're just going to set this down. These should be cool enough to grab. I'm just going to break it here into little strips. Okay, I think this one might be a little too thin, but I'm going to leave those there. These will stack up here. Okay. So, I'm going to start with some turquoise. And where was that perfect one that I had? So this one might be a little, yeah, that one's too thick to use. There we go. I think this this is it. So again, I don't have a lot of leeway, so this might be a little tough. Tough is my middle name, right? Alright. So now all we're doing is just wrapping. I'm going to try and get as close as I can to that bottom without going over. Because if it gets stuck on a bare rod, you will never get it off. I'm not using a whole lot of pressure because I don't want to break the release. And I'm just kind of going all the way up. See just how tall we need this. I'm thinking about right there, but I could be very wrong. Let's see. Go a little higher. Okay, but right now we're just going to build up our end, get that done, and then it just gets wider and wider from that point. To this is just keep going up and down. You don't want that bottom part to get cool or it will crack. This isn't big enough, but I just want to kind of gauge where I'm at. As far as the bottom's good, about 1/2 inch, and then just move it up. I need just a little more though on the bottom. Not as straight as I want it, so we're going to smear just a little bit more on here. Okay, and then we're just going to add a little more. I am going to put ivory around all of this, so I don't want to make it too tight. Just a little too tight. So I'm just going to grab this little tool and I'm just going to kind of bring some of that glass up. That kind of looks cool. One thing, I'm always a perfectionist. Gotta have a shape, but just playing around and melting it and moving it around, sometimes you can manipulate it into some pretty cool shapes. One of these days I've got to get brave. Okay, so you just got to go a little bit more on that line. problem I have right now is, as you can see how it's rubbing against the end right there. That's what worries me, because that's when it'll start to break that release off. And we seriously don't want that to happen. Feels weird torching without music. I usually have the radio on really loud. I gotta figure out what you have to do if you play music in the background. You just have to say you don't own the music or something like that. I don't know how to get around that. But it hides all the noise of the oxygen generator, and it makes torching much more pleasurable. On that. So far so good. Alright, I think we're good. Okay, so we got our nice little tube here. Now the fun part. So this is where we're going to go ahead and turn the fire down low. And then we're going to kind of paint. No design, no nothing. We're just kind of having fun wherever we put it. And you got to just figure out where to put the stringer in the flame so that, one, your hand is safe. Going to burn your fingers off. And perfectly to where it's going to melt right away. So I know where the sweet spot is. I just keep missing it. And this is why you don't want to go too tight, because all of this is adding volume. I'm just going to add a little bit right there. And there. I just broke it. Alright, now we're just going to do that. Okay, so kind of a weird little design there, right? I don't know if you can see this, but this didn't make it all the way down, so we're just going to add a little chunk right there. And now we're just going to heat it all up and pray we didn't go over the size. If we did, these are all the same size. I might have to move up one. But it's kind of too late to do anything since the design element is already on top. The cool thing about ivory, when it goes on top of turquoise, it'll create like a little black line on the ends of the ivory. So you get kind of like an added surprise there. So far we're good. I don't know if you can see that. See, and we broke the release on the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and even. And I think it's going to work just fine. Okay. And now we got to make the lip. And the lip I'm going to make in ivory. I'm going to use a stringer, which is just a thicker or a thinner rod of glass here. And then just make sure that you constantly go back and heat up. Well, then it's going to be, how am I going to attach this? I know how to do it, but I can't seem to execute it. This is where you can attach some handles on the side, or even one. Okay, so we're just going to heat this up really good. Steady hand, don't you? Okay, so just need to add a little bit more here. See exactly where you need it. I'm just gonna mount that down. Again, come back in here, warm it back up. A little bit of a mess right there. I don't know what happened. It's okay. So I'm just going to kind of straighten this out so it doesn't squish out. Okay, now it's not touching the bead, so we're going to add a little bit more. Hoping it'll squish right down. Again, we're going to stop, heat up the bottom. You'll hear it when it cracks. You'll feel it in your hand when it cracks. So you just got to constantly keep warming this up. Okay, so now I see it moving on the neck. I don't like the way it looks, but at least it's getting down there. Wow, these are really, really thin, aren't they? I don't think I'll make it if I even put it in here. More of a neck there. Okay, now we have problems. That's always at the end. This is why you won't see me making very many vessels. Last one I didn't have problems with the head. This one just wants to give me lots of problems. Okay, so we're going to do that again. It's because there's not enough on there. So again, come back down here, keep it warm. Yes, this piece is heavy. And there we go. That's what we wanted right there. Now, it's not quite even.